You already know the assassin's bullet came within a quarter of an inch of taking my life. So many people have asked me, what happened? Tell us what happened, please. I said to myself, wow, what was that? It can only be a bullet.
Donald Trump spoke for an hour and a half at the Republican National Convention on Thursday, setting out a message of unity, but not before recounting how he nearly lost his life thanks to a lone shooter who slit his earlobe a few days ago. The former president opened his presidential nominating speech with an emotional recounting of the shooting at his rally last week that left him injured and killed another. As you already know, the assassin's bullet came within a quarter of an inch of taking my life, he said. So many people have asked me what happened. Tell us what happened, please. And therefore I will tell you exactly what happened, and you'll never hear it from me a second time because it's actually too painful to tell.
And moved my right hand to my ear, brought it down. My hand was covered with blood, just absolutely blood all over the place.
For more than 10 minutes, Trump vividly described to the Republican National Convention his observations of the attack on the warm, beautiful day in the early evening in Butler Township in the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Trump, in a more subdued and somber tone than his usual bombast, said that he felt something hit his ear and that he felt very safe because I had God on my side. I'm not supposed to be here tonight, Trump said as the crowd responded. Yes, you are. Not supposed to be here, I thank you, but I'm not. And I'll tell you, I stand before you in this arena only by the grace of Almighty God. Trump also offered condolences to the family of Corey Compratore, a volunteer firefighter who was killed in the shooting, walking over to a display of Compratore's fire gear before leading a moment of silence. It's his first public address since the fateful Saturday's rally. The New Yorker said in the days leading up to this address that he rewrote his grand nominating address to strike a tone of unity after the near-death experience, vowing to unify a divided country. As Americans, we are bound together by a single fate and a shared destiny, he said. We rise together, or we fall apart. I am running to be president for all of America, not half of America, because there is no victory in winning for half of America. Killed during the attack was a former fire chief Corey Compratore, and at the Republican convention, his jacket and helmet were brought on stage. He was a highly respected former fire chief, respected by everybody, Trump said. The jacket and helmet were wheeled on a stand onto the stage as Trump gave his acceptance speech. During his speech, he walked over and kissed the helmet. Compratore, 50, former fire chief of the Buffalo Township Volunteer Fire Company, was killed, and 2 other people who attended the rally were shot and wounded in the assassination attempt. Trump said he has spoken to 2 people who were shot and wounded. Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro said Comparatore's family told him Compratore, the father of 2 daughters, dived on them to protect them from the gunfire. He died a hero, Shapiro said Sunday.
We lost a fellow Pennsylvanian last night, Corey Compratore. I just spoke to Corey's wife and Corey's 2 daughters.
Trump added that he lost his life selflessly, acting like a human shield. The former POTUS said from the convention stage that he was prepared to turn his head even further when he heard a sound. I heard a loud whizzing sound and felt something hit me really, really hard on my right ear, he said. I said to myself, wow, what was that? It can only be a bullet. Trump said he put his hand up to his right ear and his hand was covered with blood. I immediately knew it was very serious, that we were under attack, he said. He praised the Secret Service agents who helped him. Now it turns out that the young Pennsylvania man who opened fire on Trump may have posted an ominous message on the gaming platform Steam, hinting to fellow users that Saturday would be eventful, lawmakers have been told. During a Thursday congressional briefing, lawmakers were told that Thomas Crooks was on the platform and had hinted that he'd be in the news on Saturday. Corey Comparatore's family said that they are finding peace from people around the globe after the retired firefighter was fatally shot at Trump's rally Saturday. Corey Compratore was our beloved father and husband and a friend to so many throughout the Butler region. He was a local leader and a veteran, a former fire chief and a committed Christian who found peace and joy through our church. He loved and cared for us, his family, the family said in a statement. Our family is finding comfort and peace through the heartfelt messages of encouragement from people around the world, through the support of our church and community, and most of all, through the strength of God. We thank the countless people who have prayed for us throughout the past week. We deeply appreciate your kindness, the family added. The funeral will be private, they concluded. Almost a week after the shooting incident, a group of Republican senators confronted Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle at the convention, saying they wanted more answers about the Trump rally shooting. Cheadle kept walking as they shouted questions at her. Later, in an interview with NBC News' Kristen Welker, Senator Kevin Cramer of North Dakota criticized Cheadle's hostility toward senators and called on her to resign.
Exactly what you were doing today
This
on the call.
was an assassination attempt. You owe the people answers. You owe.
An examination of Trump rally shooter Thomas Crook's online search history showed searches of images of Trump and Biden, said a person on a briefing call with officials. The search history also included dates of Trump's appearances and the Democratic National Convention, which was to be held in Chicago. The internet searches specific to Trump, a rally, and the Democratic Convention were this month, a senior U.S. law enforcement official said. Following up on the same investigation, the Department of Homeland Security's Inspector General's office announced a third probe into the Secret Service after the assassination attempt. The Watchdog Office said it initiated a review of the USSS planning and implementation activities for protective operations. Our objective is to determine the extent to which the Secret Service plans and implements protective activities to ensure the safety and security of designated protectees, the office said in a statement. It previously announced two other reviews, one about preparations for the Trump rally in Butler, Pennsylvania on Saturday, and a second about Secret Service counter-sniper team operations. Despite a growing number of calls for Secret Service boss Cheadle to resign, she doesn't plan to do so, the agency's chief of communications said today. Continuity of operations is paramount during a critical incident, and U.S. Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle has no intention to step down, agency spokesman Anthony Guglielmi said in a statement. She deeply respects members of Congress and is fiercely committed to transparency in leading the Secret Service through the internal investigation and strengthening the agency through lessons learned in these important internal and external reviews, he said. Cheadle spoke this week with Jim Pasco, Executive Director of the Fraternal Order of Police, which represents over 373,000 members, including Secret Service agents and Pennsylvania State Police. She called Tuesday in response to the FOP's statement, criticizing her comments as contradictory and saying they unfairly cast blame on local police for not securing the building from which Crooks fired. After the conversation, Cheadle and the Secret Service changed their account to say local police were not in the building. Instead, they were in an adjacent building. They repeated that the responsibility to secure the building ultimately fell on the Secret Service. Pasco spoke to NBC News exclusively about the call and said that by the end, Cheadle agreed local police were not to blame. It was a frank exchange, but ended up in agreement that local police agencies had no role in the development and execution of a plan, except as requested by the Secret Service, Pasco said. Expectedly, within minutes of the attempted assassination of Donald Trump, conspiracy theories began swirling online. Firstly, an advisor to a Democratic megadonor apologized on Sunday after suggesting the incident was staged, a word that was quickly trending as hordes of social media users claimed it was not an assassination attempt at all. Instead, they claimed it was an attempt to boost Trump's election chances. At the same time, actor and director Tim Robbins was forced to condemn false claims that drew parallels with one of his films. Mentions of Trump were up to 17 times higher than average in the hours after the shooting, according to Peak Metrics, a cyber firm that tracks online narratives. Conspiracies claiming foreign governments were behind it, or it was a setup by political rivals, even that it was planned by Republicans themselves, began to flood social media, said Paul Bartel, senior intelligence analyst at Peak Metrics. Everyone was just speculating, he said. This speculation spawned a raft of theories from across the political spectrum, ranging from questions about the actions of the Secret Service to false claims about the shooter's identity. Close to 1 million posts, including the word staged, were made on X in the 24 hours after the attack, social media monitoring tool Talkwalker shows. For some, the image of a defiant and bloodied Trump, fist raised against the backdrop of an American flag, seemed too perfectly composed to be a coincidence. More than 92,000 people liked a post claiming the photo was staged. Great camera angle, great quality, no Secret Service agent in front of his head covering the wound, conveniently placed U.S. flag. In the comments, another user debunked each point. Great camera angle. Photographers and press get front row, yes. Great quality. Have you held an expensive camera before? No Secret Service agent in front of his head covering? Yes, they stand on the sides. Conveniently placed U.S. flag? Yes, it's there for photos. How did the U.S. Secret Service allow him to stop and pose for a photo op if there was real danger? One user wrote. Meanwhile, Democratic strategist Dimitri Mailhorn said in an email to supporters at the weekend there was a possibility this shooting was encouraged and maybe even staged so Trump could get the photos and benefit from the backlash. He backtracked the next day, apologizing for allowing my words to distract from last night's central fact. Political violence took yet another innocent American life. According to an analysis by the Israeli tech firm Chiabra, social media bots helped amplify false claims on platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, X, and TikTok. It found that 45% of the accounts using hashtags like #fakeassassination and #staged shooting were inauthentic. People claiming the shooting was staged were quick to draw a parallel with Tim Robbins' 1992 film Bob Roberts, in which a right-wing politician stages an assassination attempt in order to sway the election. In a post on X, Robbins condemned the people making comparisons. He wrote, "What happened yesterday was a real attempt on a presidential candidate's life. Those that are denying the assassination attempt was real are truly in a deranged mindset. A human being was shot yesterday. Another killed." He added, "They may not be human beings that you agree with politically, but for shame, folks. Get over your blind hatred of these people. They are fellow Americans. This collective hatred is killing our souls and consuming whatever is left of our humanity." From establishment Republicans to far-right conspiracy theorists, entirely unsubstantiated conjecture emerged that suggested Joe Biden had laid the groundwork for Saturday's shooting by casting Trump as a threat to democracy. They pointed in particular to a comment Biden made to donors on the 8th of July, "It's time to put Trump in the bullseye." For weeks, Democrat leaders have been fueling ludicrous hysteria that Donald Trump winning re-election would be the end of democracy in America. U.S. Representative Steve Scalise, a Louisiana Republican, wrote on X, "Clearly we've seen far-left lunatics act on violent rhetoric in the past. This incendiary rhetoric must stop." Trump's pick for vice president, Senator J.D. Vance, said on social media over the weekend that Biden's earlier rhetoric led directly to the attempted assassination. Republican House member Mike Collins was unequivocal on X, quoting the president's bullseye comment and declaring, "Joe Biden sent the orders." A community note giving context to the post refutes this, telling readers, "There is no evidence that Joe Biden was involved in the shooting of Donald Trump." As earlier mentioned, the Secret Service has come under fire for not securing the area where the gunman shot from, around 150 meters from the former president. Some Trump supporters suggested the Secret Service intentionally failed to protect the former president on the White House's orders, a claim for which not a shred of evidence exists. On Monday, images of security agents on a roof were shared widely alongside the same copied phrase claiming they were looking at the shooter for 42 seconds before he fired. "The counter-snipers didn't take the shot at the shooter sniper," the post reads, indicating this points to an inside job by the CIA. Again, something for which there is no evidence. The day after the shooting, the Secret Service pushed back on claims circulating on social media that Trump's campaign had asked for greater security before Saturday's rally, but had the request rejected. This is absolutely false, agency spokesman Anthony Guglielmi said. In fact, we added protective resources, technology, and capabilities as part of the increased campaign travel tempo. A reporter for Real Clear Politics claimed on X that Secret Service's resources were diverted to Jill Biden's event and away from Trump's because they followed agency protocol applying to Trump as a former president, according to two sources within the Secret Service community. A Secret Service spokesperson responded, "We did not divert resources from the former president of the United States, and protection models don't work that way." So who is telling the truth and who is lying? Let us know the version that you believe in the comments section below. And that's it from us today. Until next time, thank you for watching.